Okay, we're back with more idle games. I'm gonna have to say this at the beginning of each game so anyone watching on YouTube knows what the heck is going on. When we play idle games on stream, I'm playing 4 games simultaneously so that they can idle in the background and I can switch between them whenever I hit a progression wall. I'm playing idle loops to start, and then realm grinder, and then idle superpowers, and then we're trying unnamed space idle today. So yeah, picking up where we left off with idle loops. That's very much the like Gandalf. I have no memory of this place. I do have a bunch of bonus seconds. I have 61 days of bonus seconds, which I assume is the most I'm allowed to accrue. Last time I played this was like 9 months ago, so let me try to stare at this and figure out what it is. I do want to spend a few minutes on this before we switch to Realm Grinder here. So I've created a queue of actions. The idea of idle loops is that it's like a Groundhog Day like time loop, where you have at the beginning only a couple seconds before you loop, and you try to do things to build up your skills that can carry over each time you loop, so you can get further and further and further each time, right? So instead of you only surviving for like a second before the loop restarts, you survive for 5 seconds, then 10 seconds, and then a minute, and so on. So I survived for a decent amount of time now. I think it's like almost a minute per loop. All of these quests are doing things like rewarding gold, which only helps me during the loop because I lose that when I reset. But there are certain things that I can train up that get permanent progression even after the reset. So I'm taking warrior lessons, I'm taking mage lessons, I'm throwing a party, which is a way to grind up my charisma and soul. Okay. And I'm doing an investigate action, which I think if we did that a certain number of times, yeah, that's right. So I've got this people met and investigated. As these bars fill up, it gives me access to new actions down here. So I think the things I've presently selected are good for leaving up idle. So I can try to fill this investigated bar. Am I meeting people right now? I'm getting quests. Lessons. I guess part of the idea of doing the lessons and building up my core stats is that if they're higher, then some actions are faster. Is throw party counting as meeting people? Is that maybe... Where is throw party here? Gives people met progress equal to 16 meet people actions. Cost 2 reputation. Unlocked at 30% investigated. Yeah, okay. So we might be able to see a people met. This bar might be able to fill up. And my current investigation is just the core investigate action. And I don't think any of these things count as investigate. Let me take a look. Soulstones. Did we learn what those do? I have to look at my radar chart here. And it's just going to keep investigating with any excess mana I have left over to try to build that as much as possible. Yeah, I don't know that this can get terribly further on the next route, because there's like XP that you get in the loop, and then there's like talent points, which are like, I guess, ways to get faster XP on your next loop. So you get some permanent progress, and you also get some temporary progress. Some of these things, like the quests, are giving me money, if I recall correctly. Yeah. Every 5 long quests have loot. Long quests with loot give 30 gold and 1 reputation as a reward. And I'm like accruing money and reputation so I can spend it to do other steps down here. Warrior lessons probably requires a rep of 2 or higher. It trains a bunch of combat skills, requires a rep of 2 or higher, it trains a bunch of magic skills. And then I do throw party, which basically is spending reputation to convert it into people met, I see. And then investigate is just building this bar. I could try messing around with some of these red options here. Unlocked at 12 magic. So my magic is 9. So we got a ways to go until I can afford that. Unlocked at 10 combat. We're getting closest to that. Yeah, right. Can I see my current rep? I don't see that it's posted as a stat somewhere. I gotta break the 50 pots at the beginning in order to get a bunch of mana to start with here. Buy supplies. You only need one set of supplies. Oh, I see. Rep 1. But only after it generates 1. Okay. Reduce the price of supplies by 20. Locked at a combined combat and magic skill of 35. So combat and magic is essentially permanent progress, is that right? This is such an interesting game. I think this is one of the most interesting idle games I've encountered. So I should probably just let this sit, because once I can get this a little bit higher, I have some new tasks that I can try to run here. Hey, Bucky, how you doing? All right, so we're going to switch to another game. Okay, we're back with idle loops. What the hell's going on here? I'm basically going to be running bonus seconds forever, which is kind of funny. So I've done enough people meeting, and my magic is high enough that I can heal the sick and I can fight monsters now. Okay. So there's still investigating to do, but I'm probably going to be able to unlock a thing that's more effective for investigation. What we probably do is we kill this guy, try heal the sick just to try it, and we try fight monsters just to try it. I want to figure out what a soulstone is. Soulstones that last through loops. They're not always in the dungeon. Dungeon requires different skills at different points. Unlocked at a combined combat and magic skill of 35, which I'm actually getting kind of close to, so that could happen. Because this loop had already been scheduled, I see. I might want to start saving loadouts, right? So I don't... Okay, here we go. Save to list. Stream start. F3. Okay, so I saved that list. In case I want to wipe the whole thing, I can. I just want to see if this is like completely not doable with my current stats, so I can eyeball if I need to clear some more activities. I'm guessing once I can do the dungeon, that's going to be a substantial source of permanent progression here, if I'm reading that correctly. Patient healed, deer killed. Okay. Main stats speed. This uses 3 different stats: perception, int, and charisma. Does party not do anything anymore or something? Okay. Why? I don't have any way of knowing that. What makes it not particularly effective? Okay, still going through these. Every time it does the loop with these quests, it tries to find... How do I know when it's found every conceivable one? Quest with loot left, quest with loot total, quest to finish. So I found every possible pot, and I found every pickable lock, right? What do you mean party does nothing else anymore? What else could it do? It meets people, right? So patient 1. Oh, okay. So that does nothing now. I see. So I might want to do more actions based on my available stats. I don't quite have enough to kill a deer with a single one of these actions. It's probably as good of a change as I can make to idle loops right now, to be honest. It would be very nice to get some combat and magic increases. I'm going to try to stay here until I can unlock the dungeon, because that's pretty close. Heal the sick, unlocked at 12. It does give magic XP, and this gives combat XP. I wonder if these are both better than the trainings. I can try killing them. Warrior lessons as well. No, it's not. I guess the idea is that it gives gold. This gives reputation, and this gives gold. Okay, but the idea is that the more times I've healed patients and the more times I've killed creatures, the faster these activities become. Whereas the warrior lessons and the mage lessons are fixed rate of progress, I guess. Does have enough resources to get at least one patient healed in a tick there. Trying to think if there's anything I can spend money on here that would be terribly helpful. I'm just gonna watch a loop play out here with no warrior lessons, no mage lessons. I want to see how far it takes me. But I want to put those back on just so I can get the dungeon unlocked. I guess I could buy mana, right? With some of the gold that I spent. Or some of the gold I accrued from fighting monsters. Or maybe what they're suggesting is that to get rep and to get money, I can stop doing quests now and switch to doing this because it's also getting me XP. I guess if I want to wipe the whole board, I can do that. I can't tell if it's always worth doing quests. Remaining time spent. Long quests give 30 gold and 1 reputation. Every 5 long quests have loots. Should probably add some buy mana steps at the very end here. Because I'm accruing gold now at the end that's not getting spent. I don't think I have anything to spend reputation on. I was previously spending reputation on throw party. So I can just alternate these. You see where that puts me. I haven't unlocked Haggle yet, though. Oh, okay, so I can spend that for supplies, which I need some amount to start journey. So that's going to be like an entirely new area with a bunch of new actions, I guess. $75 pots with mana. I thought I'd found all the pots. I guess I could keep finding them, but I can't if I'm 100% explored, right? So this only gets moderately more efficient for every time I've done kills in the past. It's not like crazy noticeable, I guess. No! Oh, so close. All right, I'm gonna see what this looks like with alternating fight monsters by mana, and then I'll leave it and set it to come back to. But I'm so close to getting the ability to explore dungeons, and I'm tempted to just dump these and put warrior and mage lessons back on just to get as much as I can. Is heal the sick and fight monsters is it like anticipated that you're supposed to replace short quests and long quests with that? Okay. I figured that this wouldn't possibly work here. I'm just not going to have enough mana that it's going to end on one of these fight monsters tasks, but... but each subsequent monster it fights gets harder and harder to kill. I didn't appreciate that. Okay. Let me watch this loop just to see that it's okay, and then I'll maybe swap over to warrior lessons and mage lessons to try to get combat and magic up. Self-combat versus team combat. That's interesting. This definitely feels like the kind of idle game where you can be playing it incredibly wrong and not realize it. There's like a really, really, really efficient thing you could be doing instead. One plus times completed divided by 100. Okay. Yeah, so even having this extra mana purchase here is kind of pointless because of how much harder this gets that I'm not even able to afford to get another one. And then it fights goblins. All right. I feel like I want to accrue those, but the kill count and the heal count goes up even if it just kills a deer every time, and even if it just heals patient 1 every time, right? So like I could do, let's do something like this: buy mana, and then warrior lessons, and then mage lessons. It's probably fine. I'll go ahead and restart the loop here. Just gonna monitor it, and then we'll move back to Realm Grinder here in a second. I feel like this game would be miserable without bonus seconds. It's an interesting way to make it so that you don't just like win by pure idle. But it also seems like the correct way to play this game is like open a tab, play it for 1 second, turn the game off, return to it in like 6 months, and then play it actively with bonus seconds on all the time. What's my mana gonna look like for these lessons at the end? Because that's Most important XP that I get. But can I even kill a deer now? That's brutal. Okay. Let me move that down below one of the combat lessons then, I guess. I think fight monsters mostly cares about just my main combat stat. And if magic repeats a few times, that's okay. I guess I'd rather them alternate as much as possible so that they're even. Yeah, I feel like with the bonus seconds mechanic, it probably just makes more sense to just have the game run at this speed and then just not have a offline mechanic at all. It's an interesting idea, but let's see what the situation looks like here in a second. I'm able to heal a patient every time. Hopefully the stat increase from this makes killing the deer much more doable. Oh my god. I guess it will be once I get a little bit more in the way of combat. Hold on. I do want to move on to the next game, but I want to make sure my loop is not complete garbage before I do. It's interesting that my initial deer is so, like, difficult to kill. Only is using speed? Is Warrior Lesson even giving me speed? No, okay, so maybe that's folly in the first place. So I could do another quest, maybe. Or I could just put another, kill monster step in there, although that feels like a waste because I'm not going to be able to kill two of them, and I'm so close to killing one. I guess I am getting learning bonuses for speed every time I go through and do these quests, because the quests are giving me speed increases, right? Let's confirm that this isn't helping me at all, because if it's not, then I'll remove it. It's so close. It's so annoying. Alright, well, we'll kill these guys. That's not doing me any good. Still have a long quest, and that does give a speed increase that I could loot. In theory. Start this loop in a second. Hold on. Let's see. Hopefully that long quest isn't so long that I run out of mana in the process. I guess the problem with doing lootable first is that I'm not finding more lootable quests to prioritize for future loops, right? It's like if I burn through all of my lootable short quests, we're fine. I do like this game is kind of abstract, that you sort of have to imagine this like video game character trying a quest everywhere in town, finding the quests that actually give a reward, and then only doing those on subsequent loops. It might be okay. I feel like I have a lot of mana at this point. Theoretically, I could end up healing more than one patient per loop if I get good on that. Come on, speed, be enough. Oh my god. That's so annoying. Fuck. Do I have any other way to train speed here? I could try fitting in another quest. It gives 20% speed, yeah. Try putting a couple more in there, I guess. Talent multiplier. I just want to be able to kill one deer per loop, and then I'll switch to Realm Grinder again. Quest to finish, quest with loot total. Quest to finish. Okay, I think I understand. So because I'm going to burn through all of my discovered quests with loot, there's still 21 quests to explore to find the other ones that have loot remaining. And these 2 that I'm doing just to train speed might be enough for that, maybe. See if mana ends up becoming a problem here. Oh my god, it's so fucking close. All right, well, I think next loop will be okay. Let this play out. Actually, now that I'm sitting here, I'm gonna end up getting the ability to do dungeons, so I may as well sit out and wait for dungeons to unlock. You need to unlock like a simulate loop button for when you have to make little minor changes late in the loop like this. Break 50 pots, you do some quests, you sell the money from the quest to get mana. This also trains your stats. I do like that your combat stats are just completely permanent. It's an interesting choice. You're trying to understand this. Self-combat times 1 divided by main stat times square root of 1 plus times completed. So if I can get 1 time completed per loop while I'm tabbed out playing a different game, then fight monsters theoretically gets pretty efficient at some point. I guess though, by pretty efficient, what I mean is that I can theoretically kill 1 monster, maybe 2 monsters if it sits for long enough while it's inattentive. Come on, be enough. Had to just barely be not enough last time. Oh my god. I guess I'm like not doing enough short quests to get a speed up here is the problem. Man. I don't know if that's gonna cut it, but maybe if I end up getting a combat upgrade at some point, that'll be enough to cut it. I'll need to get 1 magic level up here. Just to see what the dungeon is. I might kill the bottom of the loop, except for magic training. Since it's close. In case this loop doesn't do it. Oh, have you played this before, Fuchsia? Why would that make a difference, though? Do we think, like, because it's only like 1% that I need to get a single additional monster kill? I can't tell if 1% is enough to get me over the hump there. Oh, shit. See if it's enough now. Okay, so maybe 1% is sufficient. Let me just kill this task completely. Maybe I can just drop it down to 1. I think the speed ups from it are mattering somewhat. I'm gonna wait here because I want to see what the dungeon is. 300 gold for supplies. I can start haggling after this, which is nice. I'll actually be able to spend my resources on something. But I guess all that does is pays for supplies. Because I'm guessing that once I start my journey, I still have to do all of this at the beginning of the loop. It's just another screen that I can then start doing things from scratch in. So you eventually have some kind of loop where you program in haggling to get the supplies down to 0 gold. And then you start the journey and then you do stuff after that. Well, it's total progress points, so it's not... The whole thing isn't times square root of 1 plus times completed divided by 100, right? Like, that's just one of the tiny little decimals that gets added into the total calculation. That's why I suspect it's not going to be quite enough here. I'll watch it on the next loop and we'll see, I guess. We'll do a dungeon finally. Very exciting. Alright, small dungeon. And I can haggle and I can buy supplies, so that's cool. Small dungeon 1. Each soulstone improves a random stats XP gain by 1 plus soulstones time. Okay. Each floor has a soulstone that, when received, reduces the chance you'll get the next one by 2%. So we definitely want to be getting dungeons in between loops. Okay, so I'm gonna check to see that the fight monsters command succeeds. I might kill this long quest and the short quest, at least kill the short quest. XP, I get XP in a bunch of things for dungeons, but no... no speed. Very curious to see where this gets me here. If I can get this going, I can probably just let this AFK for a really long time and make some substantial progress when we come back to it. Bill Patience is nowhere close to getting 2 in a single loop, but it's at least getting slightly better each loop. All right, here's the moment of truth. Do I kill a deer before the first one runs out? It's marginal. It's hard to tell. I probably will after this loop, though. can probably get rid of the mage training now if I just have the dungeon, because the dungeon is training combat and magic, maybe not super efficiently, but... Alright, so I now have a soulstone, is that what that is? Soulstone malt on luck. But it gives it to a totally random stat. What if it like gave me a soulstone to say speed? That would be fantastic, right? Okay, so we're gonna see if fight monsters is good. If not, I'll let it run a couple more times. I actually kind of just want to run dungeons forever if I can get soul stones for all my stats here. It's kind of a neat idea. Let me try to understand this text better because it's kind of confusing to me. So, okay. Station 2 or above. Said something about, okay, here, this is what I was looking for. Each floor has a soul stone that when received reduces the chance you'll get the next one by 2%. Ah. So I think I understand. So I can get another soul stone from floor 1 and it will still improve another random stat. But eventually I'll have looted floor 1 so many times that there'll be a 0% chance of me getting a soul stone on that floor. And I'll need to clear floor 2 to get another one for sure. But I'll eventually deplete those and so on. Okay. And then, but then the chance to receive a soulstone recovers based on mana usage. And I think my fight monsters barely succeeded there, so I think we're okay. That put it in speed, so that's fantastic. In fact, if it put it in speed, it means I can probably kill this step and this step, because I think I want to keep the long quest, because the long quest is still giving me money. I can temporarily turn it off, I guess, is just like to test to see if it works. Yeah, because I think I still have... We got long quest, long quest, long quest. Yeah, I have 3 long quests that are lootable. It's probably worth doing those for money and for mana, although I'm not really using money on anything right now. Eight. Trying to get to mana. Dungeon's pretty much just giving soul stones and I guess XP, right? Confirm that goes up to 11, and then I'm happy to tab out of this game. Okay, yeah, just barely. Beautiful. And I don't need the short quest running anymore, which is cool. So if it's going down by 2%, I should be able to get 50 soul stones from the first floor, although at some point the chance of me finding one becomes so low on a loop that it's... And it takes so long to do a loop that the chance that I see it is quite low. Okay, I understand a little bit better. That's a cool mechanic. I like that soulstone mechanic. That seems like that produces a lot of growth in the long term. Okay, back in idle loops. Hot damn, I've got a whole bunch of soulstones, and that's actual permanent progress, which is beautiful. I've looted the dungeon 123 times. Wow, the dungeon has changed the game really substantially. I feel like that's a massive, massive breakpoint for like what the core loop feels like. Okay, let me save this loadout. Dungeon loadout. (16 perception, 12 speed). stats actually aren't wildly higher, combat and magic, but that makes sense because I'm not really training them anymore. I'm just doing a single patient healing and monster killing. That's interesting. Even killing like 70 of them is not enough of a multiplier to get a second one in. That's not even close. It's like a 50% chance to get a soul stone on the first floor, 54% chance to get one on the second floor, and I guess I've never made it to the third floor. No gold or mana left over at the end. Okay. So Haggle, Burns, Rep. Have 6 reputation at the end. I don't need Rep to travel. I don't need Rep to buy supplies. So if I haggle, oops, 6 times, each time I do it, okay. I gotta do the math here, sorry, 120. So I'd still need 180 gold, which I can get from picking locks, right? Because I could only get 100 gold total from picking locks, though. That's not ideal. So I'd want to... What else generates rep? Healing the sick does? Okay. I probably want to pump that up. Each time I heal the sick, I get 3 per patient. You have 1 rep from long quests, which is not ideal. So if I do 2 extra ones, then that's a total of 6 more rep. I guess it depends on how long the extra patients take, which I can't really eyeball. Let me think. Yeah. See if that cuts it, and then we do buy supplies, start journey. Let me just see how far behind I am on it. 12 casts, that is too much, right? I need 300 gold. So 10 I need 15 if I had no money being spent on it. And I don't know how quickly haggling progresses. So I probably need to do 1 more of these and then 1 more of these. But we'll see how many she actually is able to heal here if each one gets harder. It would be nice to try to see the start journey. I'm pretty excited about these soulstones, though. That's a neat concept. They carry over every run. I guess the dungeon thing that increases the chance that you get soulstones, so if you stop leading the dungeon for a while, it goes back up to 100%, and it could be worth doing dungeons again. Wondering if I should leave a note to myself to like boot this game up at the beginning of the day the next time we stream idle loops and just have a dungeon run and just let it loop to just completely tap out all the soul stones on these floors, you know? So it's 11 rep, 12 rep including the long quest, and I can't afford to buy this. So we'll see if I can complete 1 more on this loop here. I guess doing the haggling isn't a complete waste of time because it's training charisma. Start journey also costs 1,000 mana. So that's a problem. I need to see how much mana I have when I get down there, I guess. Probably not a lot. I guess fighting a monster is worth doing if I only kill one monster, because it always gives you 20 gold. Maybe I want to put that back on there, even if I don't do more than one. Just to get some more mana. I mean, a talent increase. I'm not doing it purely for that. I'm just saying, like, that last loop wasn't a utter waste of time. Okay, so that time I failed due to running out of mana. So I need to do 2 of these. And then that needs to happen, and then I need to do 2 more. Oops. Think that'll be okay? Let me restart. Haggle's net mana positive. So, I mean, if I were to do something that earned money, I'd get... Haggle is more efficient than spending the money on it. Like, doing 15 Haggles is the way to go, basically. Manage my mana more closely here. Well, I think Ramadan's point is that it would cost me more mana overall to earn the gold I would need to buy the supplies than it costs me mana to get the rep it requires to haggle. It stays partially filled even if she doesn't clear it here, I think. Okay. Mana's still a problem here, though. Pretty substantial problem. Don't think I have any other solution. I guess I could try to hunt more monsters. Don't really have, like, quests to do. I have the right amount of rep. Yeah. Okay. Don't think I can get out of here today. Trying to decide what I want to do, though. I can leave my future Marstead notes. So, future Marstead, you're trying to start the journey. To start the journey, you have to haggle 15 times. To get enough rep to fund haggling 15 times, you have to heal the sick 4 times, I think, along with all the other quests that you're doing. That should be enough to afford it. The problem right now is you don't have enough mana to accomplish this. So I'm going to go ahead and save this loadout, because this should work if you had the mana, which you don't. Journey, if mana. What I'm going to do instead, I think just letting the game run, and maybe before next stream, boot this game up in the morning and just start the loop before stream starts. Just let it run a bunch of dungeons, because maybe getting a bunch of dungeons can help you with completing other tasks slightly faster so that you have more mana left over. Because every time you loot a dungeon, you get a soulstone. The soulstone applies to a random skill, and it gives you an XP multiplier on future loops. And it's one of the best sources of permanent progression, I think, that you found so far. I think maybe including fight monsters in there and a single heal the sick is good, just to bump this number up. Because if this number gets up, then this action is more efficient, and if you let it run in the morning before stream, maybe it'll be enough that you'll be able to formally get to start journey without too many other issues. So I'm going to kill this, I'm going to kill this, I'm going to kill this, I'm going to kill this. I'm going to reduce this down to 1. I'm going to throw a dungeon in here. And I'm just going to watch it really quick to make sure that that's a reasonable run here for permanent progress. Soulstones feel like they're wild in terms of permanent progress. Is Picklocks even worth it anymore? I think I ended up switching to Quest because it was so inefficient before. I can try throwing it on there, I guess. Let this run go first and then I'll check it. It seemed like although it was mana positive, the amount of time spent picking the locks wasn't worth the fact that I wasn't then doing another loop. I think I need substantially more mana is the problem. I need like... I think I need to do more loops though, right? So I can get more soul stones and more permanent skill training. Let's see what happens without lockpicking. It'll tell me how much of a difference it is. Yeah, I thought the value of not having, like, I thought it would be more valuable to do another loop that gets you more of a resource that gets harder to get on the loop, right? Like looting soul stones or killing monsters or healing patients or whatever. It's better to do that more times than to have one loop that's slightly more efficient that lasts like an extra couple seconds. I see. I guess the problem is I don't know what's beyond the journey. What Terranin suggesting makes it sound like there's something amazing on the other end of the journey that's going to like change my loop substantially like the dungeon did, so. Sure. I'm not going to use it for dungeons. This will just help me eyeball how much mana it's actually returning for the extra time it's spending. This is going to be the end of the Idle Loops episode, Retro Rocket. I upload all of these separately and stitch them together. Yeah, I guess it's like an extra 2,000 mana at the end. I can try it real quick and see if it makes a difference. Let me kill this, put the dungeon back on, save this as a dungeon loadout. Actually don't know if the timing is good on that or not. I wish I could like simulate the loop. I could just like press a button that tells me, hey, we're gonna run the loop in a second and tell you whether it fails or not. I guess that's part of the point, is you have to experiment and play with it, but sometimes you just like have to sit here and stare at it for a while to see if it's terrible or not. So I might have to do like half the lockpicks and then the rest of them to make sure I have enough mana to finish. There's a browser extension. I can't. No. Cannot touch anything that would be. It would be a slippery slope for me. Game integrity would be really important to me with a game like this. Thinking I'm not gonna be able to finish the pick locks. Yeah, they might need to go before her. I guess we'll find out here. Picking locks is 400 mana? Oh yeah, there's no way. It's so expensive. All right, well, try doing it as 6, 4, and then 6 maybe is good enough, perhaps. Yeah, I guess I haven't played far enough in this game, so if you're saying this is Beginnersville and there's going to be a new town after this, that's going to completely change the loop. I guess the idea of a grind task is kind of new to me now, with the small dungeon being something that actually helps me permanently on future runs. So I should just drop all of my quests and stuff that are getting me mana and rep for the dungeon and just try to get it as low as I possibly can and just do like one dungeon run at a time or something. This is probably one of the most interesting idle games I've ever encountered, but it definitely gives me that, oh my god, I could be doing this literally 10,000 times faster, and I don't have any way of knowing. Anxiety. She's 2,500 mana. Yeah, I don't think I'm anywhere close. I don't think the lockpicking made that much difference. Like, how mana positive is it? Yeah, well, it's pretty close to activating. Future Marstead, your notes are from a second ago. I'm gonna go ahead and save this again as Journey of Mana. Scroll back and listen to it, but you need to get a little bit more mana. Maybe if you go ahead and do the thing I said, which is load this dungeon loadout and let it run and try to minimize the other activities in it so you're just doing the dungeon, maybe the extra bit of XP will speed up tasks slightly so you'll have enough mana just barely to do the journey and get to the next town. It sounds like what some people are saying in chat that there's something wild there that will speed things up substantially, so seems worth doing. But you have 2 relevant loadouts here. Do this for the dungeon, clean it up next stream, maybe run it in the morning, load Journey of Mana once you have a little bit more mana from some source or another.